What's going on, yo? It's Jason Reviews here, back at it again with another video. As you guys can see by the title, going to be doing a top 5 performances video. Been a minute since I have, but was thinking of a battler I could really spotlight, talk about some of their greatest career highs. And since he's newly back on Twitter, which I'll tag in the description, I wanted to do Ill Will's top 5 performances. A little bit of buzz on his name lately, too. Like I said, back on Twitter, doing a lot of shit talking with Verb, the possibility of that matchup coming up in the summer. And has had one of the best starts in battle rap in 2023 with his Hollow and King Los battles. And I think all time, I don't know if it's fair to say that he's historically underrated all time. I don't know necessarily. He seems pretty universally loved, even in the midst of league wars. Ill Will is one of the few guys that goes back and forth between any league that he wants to because of that respect. And obviously, he's been one of the best battle rappers in the world the last 4 to 5 years, but has an all-time body of work that I think, as I was going to say, is a little bit underrated. I don't think people realize just how good Will has been against some of the best of the best, and that's what my top 5 performances videos are all about. The top 5 being based on heavily on material and then heavily on the moment and how important it was, right? And a lot of that ends up going to strength of schedule, right? Being your best against some of the best in the world in the biggest moments. That's what makes guys, that's why we end up calling them the best. Before we get into the 5, just have a few honorable mentions that just missed the list. And without further ado, let's hop right into those. So with the honorable mentions, first one I want to talk about is Ill Will versus Jag from Max Out 2. Just one of the more dominant, just violent body bags that Ill Will's ever had in battle rap. Jag, competition-wise, funny enough, Jag's been pretty okay on this second run back. On RB, actually really, really good versus Show Off, really good, pretty good versus Rose, right? But versus Ill Will, just, a lot of shit talking up to the battle. All I got to do is make a round debatable, famously, kind of verbally said the expectation curve. I'm supposed to lose by so much. If I make one round debatable, I win. And he didn't even make a round debatable. This is a combo of Will being really good and Jag being the absolute worst version of Jag. And the worst version of like those pseudo-celebrity rappers is like bad as it's going to get. So Will won extremely dominantly. I know a lot of people wanted that to win body bag of the year that it happened. Still understand why, Sick made Danny quit, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that it's in that conversation, one of the best of his career, feel like it had to be mentioned, at least in the honorable mentions. From there, we can go back to URL on Gnome 8, where Ill Will battled T-Top in Houston. Another really, really dominant win, 3-0. And then once again, this has more to do really with T-Top not being good than Will being the best, as opposed to the Jag performance where Will is like really great. I think Will is like good versus T-Top. It's really one of those great on paper wins. You 30 T-Top on the big stage. He had the Adrian Broner moment, which obviously is now one of his bigger quotables, right? One of his bigger moments on a big stage. But it's not the craziest. If you watch the footage back, it's really not the best Ill Will 3 rounds ever. But there was beef there from UFF, right? There was a little bit, not to the level of Jag with the shit talking, but there was some promo up to the booking. And for him to kind of go into like a grudge match situation and win 3-0, there's a level of impressiveness in that. And to me, it's just just one of the better things Ill Will has done, even with his performance not being the craziest in it. And then we go into the last honorable mention, just a quick 3 here. And this took place, if I'm correct, on Born Legacy 8. Probably should have checked the card on that. If it's wrong, I'll probably have some words up here to correct that. But on Born Legacy 8, Ill Will versus Av. I believe this is the one that was in Ohio. And this was just a goodie, app battle, which, one of those that... it's like not one of the premier app battles, right? Like people get the app, they're going to talk about Rock Daylight. They're going to talk about Saga B-Dot. They're going to talk about... the Lux and Sir, what I'm saying? Like, they're going to go to, like, your big headliner. But the thing about that is you get these battles in the middle, like a Twerk and Chilla Jones, right? And, like, an Ill Will and an Av that is just, like, the best of rec. And Ill Will clearly won this battle against a really good Av, which is just hard to do. All around, obviously, Ill Will's all-around skill set and kind of the substance he raps with, giving you performance comedy. Av was straight punching, and he was great at it, but Ill Will was able to give you just the entire, it's kind of the old-fashioned, being well-rounded can just straight-up beat bars. At times, doesn't always work that way. I think that, you got to base on a more case-by-case basis, but in this battle, Ill Will was on something else. The spike strip, that's what made Will blow up, was crazy, the whole, way he set that up. throwing up so much blood. Takashi snitched on him. Just the whole way he performed everything. Really incredible overall. Pretty clear 2-1 win on Av against a really good Av, and just straight performance-wise, some of the best material, maybe top 5 material that Will's had, and against a good op at that, but just missed the list. I think a couple of these are a little bit more important, and he was pretty much just as fire. But that is the full list of the honorable mentions, and now we can get into the top 5 Ill Will performances of his career. So starting out at number 5 in the list, going to SM10, the COVID year, I do have Ill Will's performance versus John Dodon. Another one that's like pretty dominant, and it's really based on the dominance. John, this is someone who at this point, you could debate his last 4 one-on-one battles. I personally have scored it that way, although him and Ace was debatable. But this was really like the start of that. The start of kind of, I believe it went Will, Ace, Surf, Trez, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but going into the Will battle, although I had Will predicted to win, I didn't see necessarily kind of the dominant win that happened, and I feel like on the card, even though it wasn't the most breakout performance, Ill Will really just showed up in there and got a pretty clear 30 in my opinion over John. And John was okay, and John overall is a Hall of Fame talent, multiple SM Gnome appearances, handled the situation. He's taken losses before, right? But to go in there, I think Will was good. He had the reach. I was reaching for that. You would look at me reaching for this while I was reaching for this. I remember that humongous haymaker that hit big, and even in a room that's towards the pens, right? Kind of a room that when people talk about COVID, it's the pandemic, right? And Will has one, an extremely underrated pen, and 2, still didn't really leave his base style, still had the animation, even some of the comedy in there. It just goes to show when your style is unique and just timeless, people will listen to it, even if it doesn't necessarily fit the theme of the room or the theme of the times. When you're great, people just want to hear greatness. And in a battle like this, top tier opponent on an SM, great performance and a clear 30. It doesn't get more big time than that. That is why I have Ill Will's John Dodon performance at number 5. From there, we can go to number 4, where we are going to rewind the clock all the way back to the first Born Legacy, and we're going to talk about Ill Will versus B Magic at number 4. Continuing the theme, as you see in the honorable mentions, of Ill Will versus Av, where Ill Will is very, very good versus punchers. Great, you know what I'm saying? And naturally, with that all-around kind of charisma, even substance-filled style, a lot of performance bars, right? Even some comedy. He's throwing so many different attacks at you, and that traditionally does good against punchers. So you see a performance like Av, you see a performance like Rum Nitty even, I believe that was Born Legacy 2, which was another great one, and then you see a performance like B Magic, where this is kind of when there was prime B Magic. People talk about that 2013, that Magic that battled Clips and Rock and was crazy and the best puncher in the world, really turned into the best puncher of all time before the fall off with his conceded win, right? Which came after this, but so B Magic right here, it's not just beating any B Magic, this is beating the B Magic. And Ill Will faced, if similar to Av, a very good version of B Magic. A lot of people think the battle is even closer on camera, and Ill Will still clearly took the building from, in my opinion, even with it being closer on cam, still clearly won the battle. Great Magic, like I said at that, really wasn't even slept on. Chain punching, great rhythm, great flow, but Will's charisma, and really the best way this can even all be encapsulated is the whole segment of talking about beating the hell out of Magic and adding a little bit of comedy in there while he does it. Executed perfectly, and just bars like that on top of this is where the thinking you can outrun these shells, that's what Ricky thought. Some of his greatest quotables come here. It's definitely a breakout performance where he was an underdog going in and knocked off the best puncher in battle rap extremely clear, showing the type of nuclear weapon he can be in his career when he's clicking on all cylinders, and for all those reasons, taking down the top puncher at the time, Firstborn Legacy, and just the way he had that room rocking. If you guys go back, Firstborn Legacy, one of my favorite events ever. It's always good battles to watch. And for all those reasons, I have Ill Will's performance versus B Magic at number 4 in the list. At number 3, as we get into the top 3 performances, the most recent of the bunch by far, and that is Ill Will versus Hollow to Dawn on Divide and Conquer 1. What more do I have to say? I've done reviews for this battle, broke it down a million different ways, talked about it in the executive suite, and we've all seen it recently. Really, extremely debatable battle to the consensus, which you have to. I always am going to be one to kind of respect those numbers and kind of get an idea where the people are at. I personally had Will winning the first and third of this battle pretty clear, but even with calling it a debatable, it's a god tier opportunity, one of the biggest battles of Will's career, if not the biggest, and he brought, in my opinion, material wise, one of the best performances of his career. His first round is ridiculous. His third round is insane, and has the bucket hat switching freestyling moment just to get unorthodox. Like, he not only did he cover all facets of battle rap, he covered things that are like half facets. Like I said, the whole bucket hat scenario was crazy, and just the quotables on top of that. Knocking on hollow walls were mounting TVs, and one of my favorite bars is the James Bond bar in the battle.
Know how to help the show out and raise a hitman. I'm big jet. Let's go. I ain't the type of nigga you want to put in pursuit. I'm looking to shoot. James Bond. Every nigga that played me got put in the suit. Why was you trying? Why was you?
Thought that was just really incredible. And it has so many different attacks, the performance within that, mimicking Hollow, having the comedy within that. This is just the complete Ill Will performance, and Hollow does really good, so you could really debate that this, you have to watch a battle age to really call it, but could be a classic battle, has all the things that could lead to that over time if people feel that way. I still personally feel like it is the best battle that has happened in 2023 so far, and for all those reasons, just one of the more competitive outings that you're going to see here. That's why I do have it at number 3 on the list. And then we can talk about the runner-up, and as you can see, like the competition, we're talking about Prime B Magic, John to Don, Av, Hollow, it doesn't stop, because at number 2, we have Ill Will versus Daylight. RBE, man, I think there was that Pearly Gates. Is that the first Pearly Gates, the second Pearly Gates that it was? Gonna, once again, as always, I'll probably have the correction up here if it's not right, or you guys will remind me. But Ill Will versus Daylight, great battle. It's almost funny because Daylight has battled a lot of the great. He's not battled a really good amount of like great top tiers, but he has battled a really good amount of top tiers, right? Daylight has had a bit Hall of Fame resume, even with some of the battles. He's a hard time ever actually getting on contract. But Ill Will is one of those battles that he got done, and it was a pretty A+ Daylight. And then on top of that, obviously, since it's on the list, you got an A++ Ill Will. And in my opinion, similar to a lot of these, faced one of the best bar for bar battlers in the world and pretty clearly won the battle. He went down 1-0 early. I love Daylights. They thought Will the Beast, say goodbye, son. The whole Indian, like, really on his scheming shit, punching back to back, 99s overall. He's the hoodie mellow. I really like Daylights first. So then to go down a dominant 1-0 against one of the best writers, he's chain punching, and then to go win the second, and then in the third, you both put on the ski mask. Ill Will goes super pen, one of the most longest and probably just good drug schemes that you're ever going to hear for all the pill and drug schemes we've heard. Ill Will versus Daylight is really one of the few that I think really is historic and great. And then has the Ja Rule haymaker in the round.
Even the ones you thought was impossible. Why you bring Spawn up? I'll beat Spawn up. He better hope he spawn up in a hospital. You know my habitat. I throw bullets. Hasselback. 40, Ja Rule. I put it on him and give him a little more after that.
Overall, there's so many bars that I could probably quote going first to third, but I think to have a 1-1 strong, right? And then to outright Daylight in the third round to win the battle, it's going on to his, like, I'm going to beat you in your wheelhouse at what you do. I think that's absolutely incredible. I think it's a very unique win to his resume. And overall, as one of the guys that you could argue is the king of RBE, I think it's one of his best performances on RBE. And that's why I have it as the runner-up for the best performance of Will's career. And as for number 1, what I rank is the best Will performance, and for you guys that have watched, seen me talk about Will or really RB in general, I would say this battle because I believe this is the best battle in RB history up to this point, and that is Ill Will versus Calico. From the fact that it was supposed to happen, I believe, in Drum, and then it gets shut down, right? And Hoodoo would be a blessing in disguise, where they're going to shoot it in that, what is now that infamous, right, like that garage setting, which I believe that's the only battle they really were able to shoot that they shot that way, you know what I'm saying, to this day. I know they've done some outside, but never that exact feel that they had with that kind of, it's like a volume, but with the concrete, you know what I'm saying, obviously the parking level backdrop, and it's just such a good battle. It's just 6 rounds of amazing from both battlers. You also take into the fact the Michigan hierarchy kind of role there. The style, it's really a true preference battle. You have Ill Will doing what Ill Will does all around, but definitely heavier, I think, on the punching and line for line, as opposed to Cal, who does not punch traditionally at all. Some people actually thinks he doesn't punch, but really uses a lot of pure rapping and a lot of life stuff that, since it doesn't have the wittiest wordplay and stuff, although one of the wittier wordplay Cal's as well in this battle, but he really off of flow pockets, and if what he's saying really is real life applicable. So when you have kind of that real talk versus the punching and performing, the pure rapping, right, versus the little bit of a comedy. And there, I just think that you get very similar to a battle that I also praise a lot, Iron versus Rum Nitty. You get pretty much all aspects of battle rap within Ill Will and Cal. You even get a little dust up, little pushing fest in the middle. It has everything, and on top of that, Will was just incredible. I love the football, the 3rd and 20 bar.
Blade out. He gets sliced. I'm Shinobi slicing in a Kobe fashion. Doctors come out to his mom's like, it's 3rd and 20. You know he passing. Who's scared of who's scared of Cal?
But even besides that, light his leg up, A Christmas Story, Ill Way Over Your Head, like chemtrails. I could go on and on and on, you know what I'm saying? I'm a bar guy at the end of the day. But when you really break it all down, I think it's the best battle in RBE history. I think it's shot exquisitely. I think it's a classic in all ways, and I think you could really debate it's the best material Ill Will has ever brought to a battle, and the most important and personal, having that Battle of Michigan type of feel to it. And for all those reasons, to me, Ill Will versus Calico is the most important piece of Ill Will's catalog, as well as the best performance of his career given those circumstances. And that is my top 5 that is my top 5 Ill Will performances of all time. Mention 8 up here. We didn't even mention so many other great Ill Will performances. I mean, just moments where he beat Your Honor and Miss Miami in the same night, right? Rum Nitty battle we talked about. Charlie Clips on Gnome. I think he might have lost that battle. A lot of people have been winning that battle. It's crazy, his whole rise through UFF, him as a young talent, really up until he battled Tay-Rock and DNA, how he's bounced back after. His resume, not only on URL and RBE, but a great King of the Dot resume, battling Big K, battling Ilmac. One of the best to ever do it, and I just thought it would be a good time to cover it. Saw him, kind of kicking up with Averb, but Averb has like 12 arch nemesis. So I actually think Ill Will is one of those people that he does respect and would hop in the ring with. We're talking Max Out 3. I think it would be a good battle. Have Ill Will winning that. Maybe that joins the list, right? But everyone knows that Ill Will is in really high demand, even in talks for a Hitman plate, which I've been waiting to see for years. And I'm just happy that I don't want to see he hasn't gotten his just due. He's been ranked high on Cody. He's been ranked high in a lot of things. But I think a lot of people are really realizing, even from the respect his peers give him, my opinion, he's just been one of the top 5 to top 7 battle rappers in the world. And a lot of times he's not 5 or 4. He's not 7 or 6, right? So shout out to Ill Will on everything, and hope that he can add to this list more with another great 2023. It looks like he already has on the way. But it's been J Smo Reviews again, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite Ill Will performances and how you feel about the ones that I picked for this list. And I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.